Good evening, my Real News Midday TV family. Welcome back to the channel for another news update. And in the news this evening, woman killed after allegedly running across road in St. James. A 42-year-old woman has died from injuries sustained after being struck by a car while allegedly running across a street in St. James Wednesday night. Deceased is Carol Campbell of Birchill District from the parish. Reports are that about 11:05 p.m., Campbell was reportedly walking along the roadway. Upon reaching the vicinity of Harvey Beach, she reportedly ran across the road in the path of a Toyota Axio motor car. She was hit and suffered a severe injury. She was taken to the Cornwall Regional Hospital, where she succumbed to her injuries. The Coral Gardens Traffic Department is investigating the matter. Comes to return to court on corruption charges. Two policemen were on Tuesday ordered to return to court on charges of corruptly soliciting and accepting money despite attempts from their attorneys to get their case dismissed. Attorneys for lawmen Graham and Morales were upset when the men appeared in court before Senior Parish Judge Paula Blake Powell, only to be told that the Crown was not ready to proceed to trial in the case which had already been thrown out once. Attorney Vincent Wellesley, who represents Graham, told the news that the matter was dismissed on March 10 after two previous trial dates because the complainant did not turn up to court. He indicated that the matter was reopened in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court in April. Wellesley said the Crown had then indicated they were seeking a special measures application which allows an individual to testify by a video link. However, prosecutors failed to get a statement to ground the application at that time. On Tuesday, the Crown prosecutor indicated that a statement from the complainant had been improperly signed, and thus the Crown was still not ready to proceed with its application. Upon hearing this, Wellesley heavily protested in the courtroom. "I don't believe a word about this statement being signed in the wrong place," he said. Wellesley indicated that the charges against his client and the co-accused stemmed from an October 2020 incident where the complainant awoke to find her vehicle missing. The woman reported the matter to the Stonehill police station. After this, acting on a tip, she went to a particular garage and saw her car being scrapped. She reportedly sought the services of a wrecking company and moved the vehicle to Studio One Boulevard. The complainant encountered both officers. Who allegedly told her she would have to pay $30,000 for the return of the vehicle. It is alleged that she paid the money and reported them to the police. Both Wellesley and a fellow attorney entreated the judge to throw out the case, citing the non-appearance of the complainant. However, Judge Blake Powell refused to do so on the basis that the attorneys sought leave to speak to that judge. The resulting decision was that the case should return on June 20, with the prosecution warned to come fully prepared. Stop order made against the businessman in alleged $96 million POS scam. Gerhoden Hines, the businessman accused of stealing over $96 million from a local bank by manipulating a point-of-sale machine, was ordered to surrender his travel documents and report to the police daily when he appeared in the Kingston and the St. Andrew Parish Court on Tuesday. Prosecutors had initially sought to have Hines remanded after the man, who is facing 7 charges, could potentially influence other cases that they are working on. However, attorney Iqbal Chevaria, who was holding for Hines' lawyer Isata Buchanan, argued against putting the man behind the bars, claiming that the prosecution was speculating regarding his potential to influence other cases. Instead, Chevaria entreated Senior Parish Judge Paula Blake Powell to allow Hines to stay on bail with the conditions attached. The remedy is not remanding Mr. Hines while the court carries out an investigation, he said. Chevaria also indicated that the man had attempted some restitution with the bank to pay back some of the money. Blake Powell agreed to extend the bail for the accused, but with strict conditions, including the surrender of his travel documents and a daily check-in with the police. A stop order has also been placed against him at all ports of entry. Blake Powell also mandated that the prosecution be back before the courts within 30 days with any new cases filed and ready. Hines is charged with a conspiracy to defraud, obtaining property by false pretense, concealing or disguising criminal property, access with intent to commit or facilitate commission of an offense, unauthorized access to computer data, possession of criminal property, and simple larceny. The accused, who operates Original 24K Clothing Company Limited, was arrested during an operation on May 12. A report from the Ministry of Finance alleged that between November 13 and December 28, 2022, Hines and his co-conspirators used a POS terminal issued by the bank to conduct unauthorized offline transactions. The report said that by bypassing the bank's real-time authorization system, the scheme caused the bank to unknowingly advance the funds to Hines' bank account, which were then removed via withdrawals and transfers. Hines is to return to court on July 14. And the automatic promotion of children at a primary level to fix reading issues, says Aware. Principal of St. Catherine-based Old Harbor High School, Linton Ware, is proposing that the automatic promotion of students at the primary level, regardless of their abilities to read and comprehend, should end if the country is serious about tackling the literacy crisis. Mr. Ware reported on Tuesday that more than 70% of the roughly 220 grade 7 students at Pembroke Hall High are either unable to read or can only do so at the grade 3 level. Mr. Ware says the situation is disheartening because the problem exists in many secondary institutions. He says high school teachers have been trying to assist the students with reading challenges, but they are limited by the lack of training.
Our teachers who are in the high school, they're not trained to do reading, primarily. We have what is called reading in the content area. So depending on the subject area, you are going to be providing that sort of an instruction to assist your students. At the primary level, and I'm not putting the blame at any one sector, but at the primary level, you would expect that our students leaving the primary school, coming to us in the secondary school, that they would come prepared to read. And I'm sure individuals in the primary school are going to have their own challenges too as it relates to spacing. But it is going to be very important for us to capture it at that level before our students move to the secondary level. In moving to the secondary level, they can become frustrated. And when they move to the secondary level and you try to put in place a reading program, a lot of them resist because they think that they are so big and they don't want to participate in a reading program. And if you have a pull-out program, they resist as well. And I think it would be better for us to capture them at the primary level.
In April, the Ministry of Education announced that it will be instituting reading as a timetabled subject at the primary level in light of the concerns about foundational literacy skills. Meanwhile, Education Minister Dr. Dana Morris-Dixon has called for the boards of primary schools to be proactive and work with the ministry to improve literacy levels. Speaking Wednesday at a post-cabinet media briefing, Dr. Morris-Dixon, who is also the Information Minister, said the Education Ministry is aware of the gaps in literacy, but through intervention programs in the primary schools, some progress has been made.
We even had a new one, which we started last year, which was for every student at grade 5 that was seen as underperforming at the level. We did diagnostic tests for 2,000 of them last summer, and this summer we're going to do it. So all of them that we find that are underperforming will now get a diagnostic test over the summer holiday. And so there are more interventions like that we need to do, but we also have to work with the school leadership because we do have a board, we have a principal in all of these schools, and it's very important that we showcase the schools where they have a problem at grade 3, and you see by grade 6 it has been addressed. And what that means to me is that it can be done.
Thank you everyone for watching. See you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. for another news update.